About the topics on the screen here. Toxic mothers. Just saw a story of a mother that drove her kids to fight her other daughter, and one of the her sons, which was the girl's little brother, ended up unaliving her daughter, pew pewing her, and really want to talk about this because I feel like in the black community, of course, every family, families of all races have problems and toxicity, okay? But I'm going to speak about it from the lens of like black families because I'm black and, I really don't care about other people's families, other groups. Minding my business on that. But yeah, I wanted to talk about, family toxicity, number one. Number two, I wanted to talk about mothers being jealous of their daughters and like actively trying to destroy them. And I think that that is something that, we talk about sometimes, but we don't talk about like how many girls are going through that. And I really think it's kind of like, I don't believe there's any gray area when it comes to that. I think that either you have a mother that really loves and cares for you, like you have a black mother that really loves and cares for you, or you have a mother that is toxic, jealous of you in some way. Thanks so much, Caterpillar. Jealous in some way and is actively trying to, mess things up for you. That's how I feel. I feel like there's really no in between. But yeah, want to talk about that. Also, I want to talk about families allowing boys and allowing men in the family to abuse the girls and the women and letting them stay around and be around and you know and how that normalizes dysfunction. It normalizes, as say, it makes men feel comfortable in doing those things. And those men not only do things like that to the women in their family, but they go out and do it to other women as well. Sometimes even their own children. And number four, wanted to talk about, excuse me, y'all, dirty little secrets. But hold on, you guys. I'm going to change the bottom pic. That way you guys can see your comments easier. Hold on. Hold on, you guys. I'm going to change the bottom pic. That way you guys can see your comments easier. Hold on. Hold on. All right. I had to change the picture just a second. There we go. That way everybody can see their comments better. There we go. Um, yeah, good morning, good morning. Yeah, so I'll just say, like I said, I saw a story today about a girl that was pew-pewed by her 50, she was 30 and she was pew-pewed by her 15-year-old brother. And the reason why she got pew-pewed by her brother, she had a restraining order on her mother and her sister. And the mother drove her sister and brother up there to fight her, and apparently, with all that happening, the 15-year-old ended up pew-pewing the daughter and unaliving her. Now, to me, I think it's wild for your daughter to already have a restraining order against you and for you to bring your children up there to fight another one of your children. That to me is completely unhinged, ghetto bird brain behavior. Like, what are you doing? But, I honestly, you want to fight your child. You want to give your youngest son a pew pew and then are shocked that he used it on your daughter. So not only did you end the life of your child that had four children, but now you have your son that's going to be going to jail for unaliving his sister. And he's a minor. And I don't know how many times we've heard stories about young black boys going to prison. or juvenile and undergoing SA and abuse and rape and not being the same mentally when they get out. So everybody is going to lose in this scenario. And the one person that's supposed to really have everybody's best interest at heart, the mother, has gone off the deep end. And, when you think about like mothers, and I've seen it before in my life, mothers that treat their daughters like they're a stranger on the street, mothers that can cuss at their children, call them the B word, call them 304s, put their hands on them, tell them to get out when they know they don't got no place to go or no place to live. Like all of those things, like honestly, those women are scary to me. Like truly scary. How could you treat your child like that? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I think it goes right in mind with the same thing of, you know, people allowing or mothers turning their heads to their daughters being abused or touched by boys and men in the family. Daughters coming up and saying, hey, this man has touched me. This boy, my cousin, has touched me. My brother has touched me, can protect me, and the family doesn't. They just look around it. Or they tell the girl not to be dramatic. Or they tell the girl not to say anything because her uncle or her cousin or her brother or her daddy's going to go to jail. Which is actually disgusting as well. But just, that's what I wanted to talk about today. If anybody wants to talk about this phenomenon of why this is happening, and actually I feel like I have 2 daughters. And I would never in my life, you know what I'm saying, put my daughters in harm's way or try to sabotage my daughters from realizing their dreams because I'm jealous that they're young and I'm older than them. And they have this is their time to make their life and carve out. Like never. The only thing I would ever want my daughters to do in all that I say is be better than me. I don't understand why that isn't a more prevalent philosophy. You should want your children to be better than you. Them having, youth or whatever is not an attack on you. You shouldn't feel intimidated. If you raise your children and they grow up and they become successful, that is actually a great reflection on you. You should be happy. Not trying to set up your kids so that they don't make it, so that they don't become successful. Telling them the wrong advice and the wrong things to do because you actually want them to fail. Ugh. I can't understand being a mother and having, children that come out of your hoo-hoo, for lack of a better word to say on TikTok, and you don't want them to survive. You don't want them to make it. You don't want them to have a great life. You don't want them to avoid making the mistakes that you made. That's wild to me. Honestly, it's literally insane. But I know that there are, a lot of mothers like that. I don't know. I just don't get down with none of that. I don't get down with arguing with your daughters and calling them the B word and all that stuff. I've seen black mothers, sit there and call 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds the B word. I never was into nothing like that. I always thought that you were a terrible mother if you did things like that. If you call your kids out of the name, I just feel like you a bad mom and I can't respect you. I don't care if you say you mad. I don't care what the reason is. Then you should never lose that much emotional regulation over yourself that you call your child a B word. What? Is he or she your child? Or are they a stranger on the street? Because I could have sworn that those are insults that you direct towards people. You know what I'm saying? Just crazy. But yeah. Hopefully I can get some people in here in the live. If not, I'll come back Let me see. This is the story right here that really inspired the live. But I will, like I said, I'm gonna give it like another 5 minutes to see if I can get some people in the box. If I can't, I'll just end the live and I will come back. And I'll either come back with this topic or something else. But yeah, as y'all can see right here, it says horrible, oh, I'm so pretty. I'm sorry to hear that happen to you because that's not cool. It's not cool for your parent to call you out of your name at all. It's not cool at all. But yeah, this is the story that was talking about horrible 30-year-old Milwaukee woman. Her name is Ashley Hudson, fatally pew-pewed by her 15-year-old brother during a family dispute. Mother, who she had a restraining order against, allegedly drove her siblings to the scene to fight her. Incident captured on the live stream. So that is the story. And that's just ridiculous. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear you got a bad experience, Shell. Or Shelly. Let me know if which way, but Shell or Shelly. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I don't know. I think that we've got to start talking about this as well. That, if you're a mother, your daughters are not a threat. Not a threat. They're not. And you shouldn't look at them like they are one. So, but yeah, you guys, I'm going to give it like I'm going to give it 2 more minutes. If I can't get anybody in the box, I will come back. I will come back. But probably with a different topic. Or maybe I won't. I don't know. Maybe I'll just do a YouTube video about this. Yeah. Yeah, it's really sad. Totally. It's really sad. Like, I just can't imagine, putting a pew-pew to my son so that my son can harm my daughter. And now what? Your daughter's gone and she had 4 kids. Who's going to take care of her 4 children? Who going to do that? Because it's sad, because what if the daughter's 4 kids have to go to the mom? The same toxic mom that the daughter was trying to escape from. Or what if they have to go into foster care and be potentially SA'd, abused? It's just ridiculous. It's I don't know. It's ridiculous, man. But yeah, you guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Hold on. Oh wait, I got one person in the box. I'll let Shelly say what she gotta say, and then I'll go ahead and end it. Hey, how you doing? Is it Shelly or Shell? Hey, how you doing? Is it Shelly or Shell?
It's Shell.
Okay, all right. Okay, go ahead, Shell.
So I like this topic. I don't think people have this topic enough because I feel like in our community, it's easy to like talk about the deadbeat father, but not a lot of people talk about the deadbeat mom or like narcissistic mom because it's kind of taboo. I remember when when I was telling people like in my family or like friends about some of the stuff that my mom was doing, they would just tell me, "Oh, that's your mom. You only get one mom." And that's very toxic. It's very toxic because what you're saying is that because of who this person is, I should accept abuse. And yeah, I think this is a good topic.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you. They definitely would say that. I haven't spoken to my mother in, man, like almost like 10 years.
Mm.
And even before then, we were still estranged. Like I would still go years without speaking to her, like years in between. I haven't really had like a situation where I talk to my mother regularly since I was in my early 20s. But I've gone no con I think it's been longer than that though. But maybe like 15 years that I said like I just won't talk to her like really anymore at all. And the same for my father too, is both of them, like I was raised with both my parents, they're married. I don't talk to him either. They're both in my opinion, I don't like to be disrespectful still to my parents. But they're not good people. I'll say that. And so I don't have anything to do with them. My youngest child has never even seen them. Um, yeah, I think my youngest daughter may have seen my mother, but my father wasn't around at the time, so she hasn't seen my father at all, ever. And I feel like, to when you're in situations like that, sometimes it's best to go completely no contact at all, and to not have any way for them to contact you, like they don't know where you're at, like you move, and you just gone.
I I totally agree. I had to the contact with my mom has always been like on and off, right? But um I think this time around I'm completely done, and that was in January. And the only reason why, I got back in contact with her is because I had my brother telling me, "Oh, you should talk to her and that's your mom." The same it's like it's the gaslighting really. Um trying to make me have this relationship with her. But I'm 30 years old now. Once I realized that um my body, like my whole nervous system goes out of whack once I'm in contact with her. Once found out that I would have this visceral reaction just speaking with her, I was like, okay, yeah, I need to cut this person out of my life and anyone else that's trying to influence me to have a relationship with her. So I think no contact is good. It's definitely good if you're in a situation where your parents are very toxic or detrimental to your health. Like you should put yourself over everything. Um but yeah, like I don't know where to start with this topic. Um I don't know, where should I start?
Oh, it's totally up to you, sis. It's totally up to you, Shell.
Um okay, first things first, my mom is a pick me. Uh, I didn't have language for that before, of course, but as I've been around on social media and stuff like that, I've realized that's exactly what she is. She's a pick me. Um, she loves the validation of men. She will put a man over her children. And at one point, I thought it was just me. But then my younger sister also told me stories of how she had her boyfriend around who was making her uncomfortable. And when she said something, she blamed her. But yeah, growing up with my mom, it was a lot of abuse, physically, mentally, emotionally, medically as well. It was a lot of different forms of abuse. And unfortunately, because I was under her care, I was also exposed to sexual abuse. Um, Firstly, with her husband, and secondly, with this neighbor. We moved to this place, and the neighbor, he unfortunately raped me. And anytime I told my mom of these situations, she blamed me. She humiliated me, and she degraded me. So, um, So, and what I've come to realize is that a lot of us in our community have similar stories. Um, and I don't think that's really addressed, because a lot of times it's it's as if that the males in our community are the only ones experiencing trauma, and that us as women, we get to be emotional. We have people that like show us a lot of care and stuff like that, but a lot of times our moms are our first bully, and that foundation starts off a snowball effect of abuse, like, and accepting the abuse, and also sometimes being abusive to other people. I feel like I don't know my mom's full story because she never really told me anything, but I'm pretty sure she had experienced abuse in some shape or form. And instead of like dealing with those things, she took it out on me and the rest of my siblings. So I'll just stop right there.
I'm so sorry that happened to you, Shell. Seriously. Um, I do appreciate you sharing your story, and I do think that this is something that we got to talk about, so that I think that if we talk about it, maybe it will be taken more seriously. You know. I'm going to. Gabrielle wanted to say something. Go ahead, Gabrielle.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah. So I was just looking at the topics, and I definitely can relate to a lot of these. For number one, where it says family toxicity, do you just mean like parents, or to what, like, what part of that specifically should I dive into?
Whatever you want to.
Okay, I will. So I can speak from the mother and the father side. So I personally am not close to either of my parents, and there isn't like any like huge trauma behind it, but it just has to do with, my mom and I never really clicked, and she did just seem to have, this like anger towards me. Like I remember when I was a teen, like she told me that like she wished she hadn't had me and all this stuff. I don't know if it's because she had me when she was older and she didn't expect to have a kid. And then my dad was like very, like very strict, domineering, all that kind of thing, all that kind of stuff. So definitely I did have a great aunt who was kind of a buffer for that. But I can definitely, like understand and relate to the dynamic of like how that can impact you as a kid, growing up. So like as an adult, I don't talk to either of my parents. And so when it comes, like family toxicity, I definitely think that, if people in your family are not good for you, you should cut them off. And some people are going to say, oh, well, that's your family. And, you need to, I don't know, stick with them no matter what. I definitely don't believe in that. And then number two, mothers being jealous of their daughters and trying to destroy them. I think a lot of that kind of goes back to male centeredness in a way. Like there are some women who see their daughters as like competition, for their husbands or other men or whatever. I don't know if that does that make sense, or you know what I mean?
That makes a lot
Absolutely.
of sense.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It makes sense.
Okay, and then number three, I definitely want to speak to this because I have heard so many, and obviously not all parents, but so many parents say, oh, boys are easier to raise than girls. And if you look at the way that a lot of men are doing it in society versus women, that to me does not make any sense. I think a lot of parents of sons do not actually parent them, but, instead coddle them and indulge them and, let them get away with bad behavior. And then they grow up into men who are, dysregulated, emotionally stunted, not able to, function as normal human beings. Whereas we have so many women who are excelling and thriving, doing great things. So I think that until a lot of parents actually start parenting their sons and not just saying they're easier to raise than girls and then just, letting them get away with whatever. I think all of that, is going to keep hurting society and definitely the BC. So I hope I didn't ramble too much. I just really wanted to weigh in on this because I had so many thoughts about it.
No, you definitely didn't. No, you made sense. I understood everything that you were saying. Yeah, I mean, I'll say, I've had a lot of experiences with, because I'm an only child. I don't have any brothers or sisters. I've also
Same.
had. Oh, what were you saying?
No, me too. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just saying I'm an only child as well. Yep.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, I have always been in the dynamic where it was just me and my parents and stuff like that. And they've done several things in my life to where I have felt grossly unprotected by them. I grossly unprotected by them in a lot of different ways. I had already told this story before that my father, when I was growing up, he had two best friends, two black male best friends, and one of them would always, talk about how pretty I was and how I was going to be like a heartbreaker when I, got older and all of this stuff. And I like, and he been around me since like birth. So I had told this story. I think I was like 10 or 11. I know I didn't have any boobs yet. And I remember I was out there for some reason in the backyard. My dad was talking to him, and my dad said he was about to go inside for something real quick. And because they had been drinking some beers or whatever. And when my dad went inside, he pinned me against the car and was like, what would your dad do if I was kissing all over you, touching all over you? And he had me pinned against the car and stuff. And like I was a kid, not no preteen, nothing. You know what I'm saying? Not that that would be excusable either, but I'm just saying like I was young, like clearly a child, an underage child. And I feel like I wasn't even developed. So, and I remember like I didn't say anything at the time. I was just so flabbergasted and taken aback, that he had done this. And, I had told my dad about it afterward, a little while after, and he had told me that like, that's his friend, he really likes him, and do I feel uncomfortable around him, but he'll make sure that I just don't need to be alone, make sure that if he didn't stop being his friend basically. It was basically he just wanted me to just make sure that I was not alone with him anymore. Not that he couldn't come to the house, not that he couldn't be there or anything. And that was just wild. You know what I'm saying? And actually, I didn't even realize it was a big deal. I just took it at like, okay, well, I guess that's not that big a deal until I got older. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even realize how horrible that was until really I had my first child, to be honest with you. That's when I realized, like, oh wow, like that was crazy because I would have never let nobody play in my child's face like that. My child said something like that happened, then it's up. Like, first of all, you're gonna get lumped up, and then you're never gonna be allowed over my house again, and we're no longer friends, you know? And even something that I don't know if I've ever said this publicly, but um I've even had issues with, men in my family as well, like my grandfather and stuff. And my parents just washed it away like I was tripping, and I I don't know. It's like, I feel like, and even beyond that, I'll just say something that really goes into line with what we're saying. I was raised in a religious cult, so they told us that, like, okay, I'm in my 40s now, so I was told that the world wasn't even gonna be here now, like the world was already gonna be over. Armageddon would have already happened. The whole world, everybody would be living in paradise at this point. So I shouldn't go to school, I shouldn't go to college, I shouldn't try to do anything with myself. I should just, not even have children, not do anything because, the world's not going to be here. My parents, I had a full scholarship because of my grades and stuff when I was in high school. I needed a parent signature to get the scholarship. My parents refused to sign it, so I did not get it. My mother, after that, I told her, it was like years when I was in my early 20s, I was like, I'm gonna have to go to school, mom, and do something. She told me several financial moves to make and things to do that I know that she purposely sabotaged me. I heard her over, talking with a friend that, I wasn't ever going to be anybody. I was never going to be able to achieve anything. I think that she gave me, like, you know how your parents will give you the keys to success, like, and tell you what to do. She never did that. She gave me the keys to ruining myself. And I made several life mistakes early on that took me like literally decades to fix because she was trying to sabotage me all along. So, and I guess it was because I was younger or something. And she felt like, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I definitely understand what y'all are all talking about. It happened to me too. And I said that me personally, I would never do that. I would never ever do that. Like my daughter, I was telling her, like, when she gets out of high school, I said, hey, you need to go ahead and get in on this AI at the ground floor. Go ahead and go to school. I know that that's not something that you may want to do something even more art focused, but right now, so that you can make sure that you are in a spot where you really making money, you need to go in this AI field because this stuff is about to blow up and take over the whole world, and it's clearly obvious, and that's what you need to do first. My whole goal and any advice that I give my daughters is for them to succeed and excel and rise up and do great. I would never in my life try to sabotage uh, my children. They came out of me. I'm the one sat there on that table and pushed the both of them out. I wish I would try to okey doke them. You know what I'm saying? However, some mothers don't have that same, love, and it's unfortunate. Go ahead, Chill.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. And I think the underlying thing is some mothers see their daughters as females and not their daughters. So they they dehumanize them in that aspect, right? Because when you're talking about like protection, right? For me, I learned early on that I was not protected. And that led to me just having this code of silence anytime I experienced abuse or anything like that. And I knew that I had nobody to run to. So I just accepted these things happening to me. Like I thought it was normal, you know? And like you said, it wasn't until like later on I realized like, damn, like how bad these things were and how bad the people around me were. It's like I had no there was no chance of me having a normal life because of the situation I was born into. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like a lot of the things you said, it's true. And like I said earlier, I realized like coming into these spaces and like being online, like how these things happen to majority of us, right? And I don't know I don't know how to work through that mother wound because it does affect me. Like it affects a lot of things when it comes to like relationships or like dealing with people. I don't trust people because the ones that I should have trusted or like should have protected me didn't. So how can I expect a stranger to, you know? So yeah, it's really deep.
I think it's a really deep too, and I understand what you mean about the mother wound. It's not like that. I've gone no contact, and I don't think about it sometimes, and I'm hurt. But it is what it is for me. I mean, I personally, Shell, I don't talk to anyone in my family. Okay, so I don't have any brothers and sisters, but I do not talk to my grandparents. I don't talk to my parents. I don't talk to my cousins. I don't talk to literally anybody in my family other than the family I created, which is my husband and my 2 kids. Other than that, I don't talk to nobody. I don't even talk to my husband's mother because she's toxic too, and I don't like her. I don't even talk to her. I told my husband, I said, I will never talk to your mother again. She had one time to do something out of pocket. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And it was like, it wasn't a little thing either. It was major. I'm not going to talk about that because that's not my mama, out of respect for my husband, but I don't talk to her either. I don't talk to literally anybody. And it's just my thing is that I don't believe in the thing that where people say that, oh, it's family. So that means that you're supposed to deal with somebody cussing you out, dogging you out, putting their hands on you, doing things to harm you, essaying you, raping you, touching you, any of that, or you don't. My grandparents, my grandfather and my grandmother on my mother's side, they lived to be their 90s. I stopped speaking to them around the time, actually a little bit before the time that I stopped speaking to my parents. I actually stopped speaking to my grandparents first. And because they also was on some other stuff. And I don't think I've ever said this publicly, but my parents had been married for like 22 years, right? And my mom decided that she wanted to leave my father. And I'm not even saying she was wrong in doing that. So, but she ended up leaving and she went to stay with her parents so that, she could stack up more money so she could, pay no bills and stack up money so she could go buy her house without my dad. That's what she wanted to do because we already had a house, but she wanted one without my father. So, cool. I was staying with the both of them at the time, even though I was over the age of 18 at that time. I can't remember how old I was, but I was over the age of 18. So I went, and because my parents really stunted me emotionally and socially, so I wasn't able, I feel like I was behind light years to other people my age. So like even now in my 40s, I feel like I'm slightly behind, but I'm still on track now. But back then I was definitely behind. So anyway, I go stay over my grandparents' house, and my grandfather on my mother's side has always been weird. Like there's a lot of SA in the family and things like that, but nothing ever happened to me per se by them. So, anywho, I mean, there's been some weird, never mind, I'm not get into all that, but nothing major, right? So when I got there, my grandfather was telling me about how beautiful I was and, all this stuff, which was very weird. He was talking to me like I was like a woman, just a woman and not his granddaughter. You know what I'm saying? Not his daughter's daughter, which is crazy. So when I would come in, we had, multiple bathrooms in the house that they was in. So I would go into the bathroom that was supposed to be mine. And would I be in there showering, like he would come in and pull back the shower curtain and look. And he did it multiple times. And he would say, oh, like it was an accident or something, but it wasn't an accident. And so it started making me feel really uncomfortable. He would even come into my room while I was undressing or put my clothes on. And so I had got fed up with it, and I told my mother. And my mother told her sister, she has multiple sisters, but she told her sister that's her closest sister. And they came to me and told me that I'm exaggerating, that didn't happen. And I said, what are you talking about? It did happen. They said, oh no, we remember when you was like 6 and 7, you would make up stories, you would lie, you would do this and that. And I said, you are talking about that I would make up stories, which I don't even remember what they were talking about. I said, but you're telling me that I'm dramatic. Oh, they also said I was dramatic. That since I was like 6 or 7, I was dramatic. And I said, I'm a grown person. Y'all are talking about something that I was when I was a kid that you're going to hold to not believe in me as an adult. Like, I mean, not that I was like an adult, but I was like, legal. So I was young. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I think I was like 18 at this time. I think I was 18 or 19. No older than that. And I was flabbergasted. And they told me that if I wanted this to stop, I needed to get out and I could go back and stay with my dad or go stay with this old lady that I didn't know at our congregation. No chill. They just basically said it wasn't happening and I was this dramatic weirdo. And I ended up leaving my grandparents' house and everything like that because I couldn't take it anymore. And I was like, because it was just the way he was looking, the way he was acting, like it was literally like I was like a woman that he didn't know. Like, and I'm like a young girl, and this is an old man, like, ew. And it's my grandfather at that. Like, so disgusting. But yeah, like I really didn't so anyway, all I'm saying is that yeah, they were the first ones that I didn't talk to. My grandparents, they were the first ones, and then it went to my parents. And then it went to like my aunts and uncles, and then it went to my cousins, and then it went to just everybody. So I'm just so disgusted by all of them, and I don't talk to on either side. My father's side, my mother's side, none of them. I couldn't even tell you what they got going on. That's how much I don't have any contact with them. But anyway, I only said that those things that way you guys can know that I definitely understand what y'all saying, and I definitely been in those situations as well. It's just me personally. I just really don't talk about it too much. I guess I'm the type of person that if something bad happens, I kind of like, I visualize this like box, like a box with a lock on it. And what I do is I put the feelings or how I feel or my thoughts about it inside the box, and then I lock it with a key. And like, it's like I mentally do it and I feel like I mentally do it and put it inside the middle of my chest, and then I just don't talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And I just try my best to forget about it. That's probably not healthy though. Let me go down here to Naraya. Or did you have something to say real quick, Shell? And then I'll get down there to Naraya.
No, you can let Nora go.
Okay. Go ahead, Naraya. And let me know if I'm saying your name right.
Yes, you're saying it right. Grand Rising ladies, beautiful rising. I just want to say, first and foremost, that for all the women that are, have experienced this, or not even just women, but, people, period, with the toxicity, I want to extend grace to y'all because, it's not easy. I'm 42 years old and I have been dealing with a toxic mother from the time I was born, right? And then, as I became an adult in the last maybe like 5 years, I realized how toxic that my dad was. So, I had to cut him off too, and my siblings as well. That family toxicity, when you're growing up in that, you kind of like, it's not right, and you speak out about it. I know for me, I have been speaking out since I was like a little girl. So I was always labeled as, oh, my mouth and this, that, and the third. But I was always really like radical, like, this is not okay. This is not okay. But the family would just like sweep it under the rug, and it made me grow up, and I basically had to raise myself because I realized that I didn't have no safety. I didn't have nobody protecting me, and I didn't have any support. And so, we don't talk about the mothers like we talk about the fathers. And I'm so glad that we are in a space and time right now where we are able to talk about the toxic, the toxic mothers, and how, mothers are jealous of their daughters and they do try to destroy them. And I've seen it, I've experienced it growing up. I didn't see it around me a lot with like my peers and my friends and stuff like that. But as I got out into the world and I started to meet other people and travel and go to different places in different states and stuff like that, I realized that, oh my goodness, this is something that is actually it's like an epidemic in the BL. I don't know about in the YT community, but I know in the BLK community, like I'm starting to see it a lot once I became an adult. And I just want to extend grace to everybody because it's not easy. If you are still dealing with those people, I would highly suggest that you remove contact, or at least eliminate it as much as possible until you get to the point where you can just go no contact. Going no contact has been the best thing for me and my children. I raised my children, I've been there for my children from day one. I put that work in. My mom has not. And one of the things that I noticed is that when I was around her and raising my children, that jealousy became even stronger, because it's like, how dare you think you're better than me as a mother, you know, because I'm not doing the things that she would do. And so then she would do things to me and it would affect my children. So I had to say, you know what? Just because I was a child and I couldn't get away from you, but I'm not going to let my children go through this. I'm not going to let my children see you be toxic, because I'm not even toxic to my own children. And I'm not going to allow them to see you treat me like this, or my father, because again, like I said, in like 5 years, in the last 5 years, I realized how toxic he was. I had two older brothers, and growing up, they used to, it goes to number three, families allowing boys and men to abuse girls and women. I was the only girl, I was the youngest. And when I tell y'all, I used to get beat up every day by my brothers.
That's horrible.
They did nothing. They did nothing, y'all. Like, nothing. Like, I'm talking about busted lips, black eyes. And so it got to the point where I was like, you know what? It's going to be either them or me, and it ain't going to be me. So I started picking stuff up, frying pans, whatever I could. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to take them out of here. I didn't care if I took them out, because I was getting beat up so bad. I'm sorry, y'all.
No, it's okay. I'm so sorry, Naraya. I really am. I'm so sorry that you experienced that, truthfully. You know, and it's I can see why you went no contact, and I think that you going no contact is probably the best thing for you. And I think that it takes a lot of strength and a lot of bravery to do that, because do you know how many people don't have the strength to do that? A
Yeah.
lot.
A lot. A lot. I know. They will take it. And I was one of those people, like, because everybody around was like, well, that's family, that's family, that's family. And then you like, this wrong though. And then, but like I said, once you get away from them and you realize that, wait a minute, I'm so much better without them. I heard Shell say something about her nervous system, and that is so true. When you are in trauma all the time, you do not realize that your nervous system is out of whack. You do not realize, because your nervous system is out of whack, you are making decisions a lot of the times off of survival. So you're not even making decisions, that are completely like the best of the best for you, because you're in survival mode, right? Because you're going through trauma so much. And I just know, like, and then like I said, I have all boys. I have no daughters, right? And I even looked at that and I said, why would I keep my sons around this? I don't want my sons to be like this, because I wish my son would put his hands on a woman. I wish my son would sit here and be a degenerate and be a bum and don't do nothing. Like, I wish he would. You get what I'm saying? So that's another reason, if you have children and you're around this toxicity, even though you may not be like that, your children may pick up on these behaviors from these family members. You know what I'm saying? And so they coddled the boys. I'm the only one that actually did something with my life. I went to school several times, My brothers are complete bums, okay? They got babies all over the place. They're not taking care of them. They couch dwellers, they basement dwellers. And guess what? The parents support that. They support it. But when I say, hey, I have a daycare, I own a daycare here, I just need somebody to go pick my kids up from karate class. Oh, I ain't helping you with that. I ain't doing, you know what I'm saying? They would not help me. But with these boys, they coddled them. They coddled the bad behavior. They accepted the bad behavior, and they still do to this day. I'm 42. My oldest brother is 40? I think he's like 45 or something like that. This man is still a couch dweller. My other brother is 44 or something like that. He's still a basement dweller, a couch dweller, and they're living in my parents. One live with my dad, one live with my mom. So I'm glad that we're having these conversations, because a lot of people they feel, or, when I was growing up, I mean, now it's more so, we're open to talk about it. But like I told y'all, I've been boisterous about it. And people would literally shut me down like, oh no, that's your mom. Oh no, that's your brother. Oh no, that's your dad. And I'm like, but this is not okay. And everybody would just act like it's nothing. And so to have these spaces, I just want to give everybody grace. And I thank you so much, your trigger, for even hosting this and bringing up this topic. Because it really is needed. We are holding in a lot of stuff. We are like you said, you just store it in a vault. But it's not going away because we got to deal with it. We got to heal through it, and we got to talk about it. We can't just hold it in because it's causing us to be, unregulated. And I'll land my plane there.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you for sure, for sure. I think that I think there's a shame that comes along with it, and that's the reason why maybe a lot of us stay silent. Because while you were talking and you was talking about your experiences and stuff, and I was hearing your voice and I could tell how hurt you were. And it was making me think about the times that, I've been hurt and how damaging it still is on my psyche. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking about like when I first got married to my husband, who I'm married to now. My mom, because I was like not really talking to her, but at the time we went to the same congregation. So even though we were estranged, she went to the same congregation. So I saw her and she saw me with him. And some other people knew that I had just recently got married. So they apparently had told her. This lady waited until it was a time for us to go to the congregation or church or whatever you want to call it, and wrote this man a letter and gave it to him. And in the letter, she lied on me. I'm talking about she bashing me. She's saying I'm a serial killer, that I'm crazy, like I can't be trusted, and all this other crazy stuff. And I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that she would do something like that. Like I really couldn't believe it. And during this time, before I got married and everything, it was like a couple years before that, I had stayed with her. And she was really like, she was the type of person, if you stay with her, she gonna like really make your life miserable and make you feel like you don't have no power, because she's like a control freak and gets off on controlling people and putting them under her thumb. So this time she had told me, she got mad at me about something. I don't remember what it was. And she told me to get out. And I told her, like, I don't have any place to live. I don't have any place to go. Why are you doing this? And I had ended up talking to this lady at our congregation. I didn't even know her, right? I didn't even know her well. I had ended up telling her what was going on, and she told me that I could stay with her. She was like, hey, I'll help you out. You can stay with me, get on your feet, blah, blah, blah. And that way you can get your own place. You don't have to worry about being underneath your mother's thumb or whatever. So now this lady let me come stay with her. She did not know me, mind you. She let me stay with her. She let me use her car because I did not have one. She let me stay there rent free. She let me do all of these things. I think at the time I was so broke, I had filed for like food stamps. So all she told me was to say, if you give me a few jugs of like organic milk, you know what I'm saying? That'd be your rent. Just give me a few jugs of organic milk because organic milk costs so much. And you got the EBT. So go ahead and do that. And I did that for her. That's all she asked me for, was a couple half gallons of organic milk, and she helped me get on my feet. And I'm gonna tell you, my mother saw this woman helping me, and my mother called this lady, told her she wanted her to meet somewhere behind my back, and told this lady that I was a killer. Like, and I'm not talking about a figurative killer. She told this lady that I was a real killer, that she needed to be scared that I might unalive her at her home. I have never showed any signs of violence other than getting in fights in a couple fights in high school that somebody started with me. But other than that, no, I never put my hands on my mom, never put my hands on my dad, never cussed my parents out, never did anything like that. And she literally told this lady that in an attempt to get me to where I had nowhere to be. Now, it just so happened by the grace of God, because I don't care if you don't believe in God, and I do, and it was God that saved me and only him. She came back and said, I don't know you well. You know what I'm saying? But something about the way your mother is speaking to me, I don't believe what she's saying. I believe that your mother is lying on you. You have not showed me that you're anything other than a nice girl that's having a rough time, transitioning to adulthood. And I cried and I told her, you're right. I'm not. And she trusted me, and she didn't have to. She trusted me and still let me stay. And I was able to get a job. I was able to save up and get a car, being there with her, and able to get my own place. And for that, I will always be grateful to her. You know what I'm saying? And she didn't ask me for nothing, even though when I left her an envelope with some money in it, because, I still, even though she didn't ask me, I feel like, she deserved it. But yeah, like, so I get what y'all say. And what's crazy to me, y'all, is that the things I'm telling y'all, thank you for the gift. The things that I am telling y'all is really only a little bit. My mother has done way worse things than this. My father has done way worse things than what I've mentioned. I'm only telling y'all literally the G version, the Disney version, the sanitized clean version. So if y'all think that this is crazy, I promise you, I promise you, if I told y'all more, y'all would really be like, what? What? But anyway, let me keep going, you guys, because I'm probably ranting. Let me keep going to Coach T and then Calandra. Go ahead. Go ahead, Coach T.
Hey, Treg.
Hey, sis.
Hey, everybody. I hope y'all enjoyed the tea. Y'all tinked yesterday. I was working. But I hope y'all enjoyed y'all holiday yesterday.
Yeah.
Friday. As always, Trigger, you have cultivated a great space for women to be able to have these conversations, especially Black women. And I think it's so important now when we're talking about, or we're hearing a lot of language about how women are decentering men, or taking a step back from the unfledgling support that we've given men in our community. But I think another conversation we need to have is about decentering our mothers and their point of view and what they try to speak over us and speak over our lives, because I've had that same experience with my own mother. And it's very hard and it's very hurtful when the person who was supposed to love you unconditionally and support you and just teach you all these things about life and make sure you're successful, when that person believes the worst about you, it's hard to not believe it or internalize it yourself, because that's my mother. It's the saying, mother knows best. But I want to encourage all women who have these hard or difficult, tenuous, toxic relationships with their mothers or other women in your family. It could be a grandmother, a aunt, even a sister, a cousin, that how they feel about you, you don't have to internalize that. That's their own shame. That's their own guilt. That's their own hurt. That's their own pain. And for me personally, I am no contact with my mother. I've been no contact with my mom for years now, because I realized I turned 30 and I realized, like, I don't want to spend the next 30 years of my life arguing and fussing and fighting with you. I'm done. And I've gotten the same kind of response and the same kind of reception of, oh, well, that's your mother, that I believe one of the other ladies mentioned. Oh, well, that's your mother. You only get one mother and da 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 da. Yeah. And she only got one me. And this is what she chose to do. But for me personally, what really shifted and clicked for me, I heard somebody else even mention this, is like, even if you aren't a toxic person, when you have kids and you have them around these toxic people, they still will experience the toxicity. And for me, that was the light bulb moment for me, is like, wow, I'm really just reenacting or living out the relationship that I had with my mother with my own kids, because I don't have a mother who I can depend on. I don't have a mother who can support me. I don't have a mother who, if I'm having a hard day or I'm struggling through something, I can call her for sage or for advice that I can trust, that she has my best interest at heart. And that's hard for women when we live in this world. That's what a mother is supposed to be. They are your mother, and then you have kids and they become a grandmother. They become a grandiose, more exalted, better version of a mother to help the newer mothers learn how to do this motherhood and this life thing and this womanhood thing. And when our mothers fall short of that, it's disappointing. But I've given my mother grace and space to just be whoever she's going to be without needing me as part of the equation or as part of her life or whatever that she's doing. Go ahead and be whoever you want to be. You can do that, but do it over there. I can let you go and love. I don't need to hold on to you and all of that. I don't even, the funny thing is that people are like, well, you can't hold a grudge. Like, I'm not holding a grudge. Everything that happened between me and my mother when I was a kid, it is what it is. What I'm doing is I'm holding her accountable for the relationship that she's failed to cultivate with me as an adult, woman to woman. The things that she's done to me as a woman. You can't do that to another woman. I don't care who you are. Mother, daughter, sister, cousin, child, whomever. You can't do that. And so I think this is a great awakening for us as women, where older generations didn't have that. They weren't able to be autonomous. They weren't able to be independent. We weren't able to individuate and have our own identity as women and as mothers. And that's okay. But I heard this saying, and I think it was on a meme or something, that you can't expect the generation who harmed you to heal you or to support you as you're trying to heal. It's not going to work. But I'm telling you, it's nothing like this peace and this joy that I found and just letting it go. It's okay. You can just let it go.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you, Coach T. I really do. I think that you get to a point to where it's just like, okay, I you have to make peace with it and realize that this is just what it is. And I agree. I've definitely made peace with mine as well. My mother, my father, and my family. Because like I said earlier, you guys, I've cut off all my family. Except my immediate family. I've cut all of them off. And at first I would feel sad and stuff like that, but then I just realized that, hey man, it's just something that's got to be done. It's either this or my mental health is gonna suffer, you know? And it was just like how Coach T was talking about arguing and going back and forth. That's the way it was with my mother. Anytime I had a conversation with her and trying to talk to her about anything, it's just like she giving me anxiety. She making me tight in the chest. I'm my voice is elevated, and I'm not doing that in my real life with my husband and my kids. So it's like, why in the world am I doing this with you? Like, I don't even do this in my everyday life. Like, I made sure that I stopped those things from happening. So it's just like, what are we, what? I was just like, I can't keep doing this. I got to leave all of y'all alone. Let me go over here to Kalandra and then Maria.
I definitely can relate to this topic. I definitely think my mom was jealous of me, and my mom has passed on, but our relationship was not the best. Like, she didn't have that ideology that she wanted her kids to be better than her. And the reason why I say things like that, because I remember this one time, I was probably like 17, 18, and I remember she had me walking home in the dark. And we used to live in like the country, and I don't know if you know, but like countries don't have a lot of street lights. And when I remember, like, I would say to her about it, and she would be like, well, I did it. And I just feel like if you have kids and you don't feel like they deserve a better life than you need therapy for that. Like, I'm sorry, but you need to go talk to somebody. Because why do you feel like because your life was hard, you don't feel like your kids' life should be better than you? Like, for example, I have a lazy eye because my mom, when my son was born with a lazy eye, I got his eye fixed immediately. And my mom was passed after my son was born. But I remember my dad, he asked me, like, why did you get his eye fixed? Because I knew what it was like to get picked on at school. And my dad was like, that builds character. And I was like, it doesn't. Getting picked on at school does not build any type of character. And I have, like, toxic relationship with both of my parents. But in my mom particular, I do feel like she was jealous of me because I would always say I don't want to be nothing like her. Like my mom had 4 kids by 3 different people. I have one child. I don't want any more kids. And I feel like she just didn't have that mentality. Like she was very just. I remember when I was in college, my mom never got a degree, and I was in college, and I would be passing on my classes, and she would say a lot of negative stuff like, "Oh, you think you better than me because I didn't go to college." Never thought that. And I remember this one particular time when I was in high school and I was doing work study and I was coming home for to go to work. And I had bought myself something to eat because I ain't ate all day. She literally like took the cup of red fruit punch and poured it all on my pants because I didn't buy her nothing to eat. Mind you, she had a whole husband, a real job. Like I only had like $5. And you know what I'm saying, stuff like that. And then she would always pick on me about my weight because my weight is something that does bother me. And you know what I'm saying, it's not something I have worked on yet because I am in therapy, like working on it. But she'd always pick on me about my weight because she knew that was the one thing that could bother me. And then what I really realized she was jealous of me is because we was in Walmart and I had on a wig and a bunny, but I had like the way the butt, like my wig was like the bunny. She literally like pulled my whole wig off in Walmart, and I was just like, why? Like, and all this time is happening. I'm in college, and you know what I'm saying. I would always say I don't want to be nothing like her. And now that she's passed on, I have very mixed emotions about it because it's kind of like she was very toxic. And when she unalived, we were not speaking because it was a situation that involved my sister, allegations against her husband, and I told the police everything. And my mom was a pygmisha, so she was gonna ride for her husband. And like looking back at it, you know what I'm saying? Now that I'm a parent and I look back at my parents, I'm like, dang, like y'all needed therapy. You never should have had children. Because like even conversation I have about my dad when it comes to my son, my dad be saying stuff like, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that. That's how you felt about your kids. You didn't want your kids to be better than you. You needed therapy. You need to go talk to somebody and work out that. But when it comes to my son, I don't want my son to be nothing like me. I want him to be better than me. I'm in therapy. I want my son to go through half of the things I went through because I'm sorry, parents need to come out of that mindset of when you're doing things to your kids, you're not helping them. You're making them feel like that you're against them because that's how I felt growing up. Like my whole childhood was toxic. My parents needed therapy. My parents never should have had kids because they did not have good ideology about raising their kids because they were two broken people who didn't get help. Like you feel like because your life is hard. Like I remember I had asked my dad to help me pay for driving school. And he literally said to me, why would I help you with something I don't do? Because you should want my life to be better than yours. And like that's what I'm saying. Like you need therapy if that is your ideology. Because why do you feel like that? Like you need help, deep help, if you don't want your kids to be better than you. You should want your kids to have opportunities that you didn't have. But the problem with that older generation is you can't tell them nothing. Because even when I be talking to my dad today about like problems I be going through, he'll literally say stuff like, my life hard too, but you don't see me. Okay, I'm not you. I don't care about what you got going on. I'm telling you how I feel. And that's all I wanted to say.
All right, all right, all right, Calandra. And I definitely understand everything that you were saying. Like, it's so crazy that, we all have different lives and grow up different ways, but a lot of things are the same. And it seems like toxicity always rears its head the exact same way. You know what I'm saying? It may have slight differences, but the underlying things are the same. It's crazy. Because I know exactly what you're talking about and I've experienced it as well. Let me go over here to Maria and then Gabrielle. Go ahead, Maria.
Good morning, y'all.
Morning.
Good morning. I think for me, being, a grown woman now, I do believe that I was an unwanted pregnancy and never ever and came out looking like my dad. And so my mother and I have never had a connection. I recognized that very early as a child by the way that I was treated. And then by the time I turned 14, like I started fighting back. And so I think, a lot of us have a mother or father wound, and we just need to recognize that. And cutting most of that family off that like allowed me to endure certain things due to her treatment Once I got to college was like the best thing that I could ever do. I know some people can do it and still like feel okay or good about it. But I would encourage you, like, if you know, especially if you know, go to therapy and you talk it out and you can be fine with knowing, because I know it's not a popular, especially in the Black community, it's not a popular thing, you know, to cut off family, but it's definitely, it should be normalized in instances where abuse is happening and it's expected because you're the daughter or you're the son or whatever, that, well, you know, that's your parent, you should just go along with it. I think that's very, that's self-harm and very destructive, both emotionally and mentally. And I was not going to do that to myself. I hopped up on here because I was listening and I said to myself, there is life after knowing that if a person doesn't wish you well and they're toxic, even if it's your parent, you have to do what's right for yourself and cut them off. Let them be miserable by themselves. Like, none of us asked to be here. You know, it was a decision that they made. And if that was your decision, that doesn't mean that you mistreat me for your decision. And it's incumbent upon me to do right by myself as well. And once I recognize that you don't mean me any goodwill, then yeah, I got to remove you. So I don't let these people Jedi trick me, especially at church or whatever, talking about you have to respect your whatever the Bible verse is. That's a two-way street. Don't provoke me, don't mistreat me, and I won't have to do what I have to do. So that's all I had to say.
All right. Thank you, Maria. And I definitely understand where you're coming from for sure. And I think you made a lot of good points. And it's upsetting to hear all of these stories from y'all. Like, but then in another way, it's also like empowering too, because it makes me realize that, you know, I'm not the only person that's been in this situation. Let me go to Gabrielle and then Jay.
Yeah, thanks again. So when I was listening to you talk about the situation that happened with your mom earlier, it actually kind of reminded me of something that happened with my mom, and I promise this is not going to be super long. So I want to say back in 2017, so for context, I'm 27 right now, and so 7 years ago, I started my career like writing for a living. But like with writing, it took me time to actually like make enough money to be able to support myself with it. And so my aunt, who is actually my mom's sister, my aunt is like, well, you can move back in with me and, you know, I'll, you know, like just, you know, focus on your writing, you know, do what you have to do, whatever. And so I did that. And I remember before I moved, so I moved out of my house at 18. Like I just bought a one-way ticket to Vegas. I just left. I remember when I left, my mom told me, she's like, if you go to Vegas, I'm going to take out a life insurance policy, which basically meant she thought I was gonna like unalive, which I obviously did not. But anyway, so I moved back in with my aunt. I was only with my aunt for about like 8 months because I was really, really like writing and applying for like writing gigs and really getting it done. I remember I was out with my aunt and I saw my mom like one time and she didn't like directly say anything, but she just had this look and just the energy and the vibe she was giving, it was very much giving like, oh, you failed. I knew you weren't going to make it when you moved out. And now you're stuck living with my sister. And so, like I said, I was only with my aunt for about 8 months. Like I built up money and savings and like moved back out again. And then I remember my aunt told me that after I left, my mom asked her what happened to Gabrielle. And like, I'd been very vocal on social media, like about my writing and all that stuff. And I always said I was like temporarily moving back to Michigan. And my mom just seemed somehow like shocked that like I left again, that like I did not fail and crash and burn. And then earlier this year, I went back to visit my aunt for like 2 weeks. And my aunt, she asked me, she's like, do you want me to let your mom know that you're in town? Like, she's like, you're an adult. She's like, it's your business, whatever. I told her like, no, I don't want you to tell her. But for some reason, my mom like stalks me on social media. It's like very weird. And like I posted, you know, a photo of just like me and my aunt like hanging out, and I just basically like a tribute like of how great of an aunt she was. And then my aunt told me that like within hours of me posting that, my mom sent her a text like very sarcastic with like this like underlying animosity of like, oh, you didn't tell me that Gabrielle was in town. And, I hope you guys have a great time. And then she said, ever since then, she and my mom don't talk as much. And it's just weird because my mom, like I said earlier, she and I did not ever really click or get along. When I lived with her as a kid, she made it very clear that I was not wanted there. So it's like, if that's the case, like, I'm out of your life, I don't bother you, I don't talk to you, like, why are you bothered that I'm visiting my aunt, and why are you upset that my aunt did not tell you that I, an adult, was in town when I told her, like, don't tell my mom. Yeah, and as an adult, I can do that. So I know it's not exactly like what you were saying with your mom triggered, but it just kind of reminded me of all of that. And just, yeah, I hope I wasn't rambling too much, but yeah.
No, you weren't rambling at all, and it does correlate. I think that your mother just was just waiting because she wants to find some way to knock down what you're doing, and she's just waiting on your downfall, unfortunately. And I think that's just a terrible thing. I really do. As opposed to wanting your child to succeed and do better, and do better than you. And I feel like she's probably envious that you were able to make it happen with your writing. You're able to do what you needed to do. But I just want to say I think that you're doing great, and I'm very proud of you. I saw Coach T said that too, and that thought made me think like, yeah, that is. I'm proud of her too. Because that's an amazing thing that you were able to do that. Because like I said earlier, so many people go through all of these things with their parents, and they stay and they keep talking to them. It's a big deal to be able to stand up for yourself and say, you know what? No, this isn't right.
Just couldn't do it. Like, and this was like even years ago, but like at 27, where I am right now, I just don't have the mental or emotional whatever wherewithal, bandwidth, whatever, to just interact with people who I just get a bad vibe about. And like, I really just always feel like my mom just always had this like resentment of me. And I feel like, especially as an adult, like, she really did think that I was gonna like end up on drugs, or like I was gonna get like unalived, and when I just like moved out or whatever. So yeah, I hear what you're saying though.
All right. I got you, Gabrielle. Well, you definitely proved her wrong. All right, let me go over here to Jay, Miss J.
Hey, family. Good morning.
Hey.
Don't be afraid. It's just a dark jean gray. It's
Uh,
still a black girl behind it. Nobody panic. The one thing I'm going to say about these types of wounds is being a black woman is complicated. I'm not gonna say hard. It's complicated because you're balancing multiple identities at one time. The one thing that I try to do in raising my own daughters is understand that they are people and they cannot live their lives for me. And I think a lot of times our mothers see us as daughters as a reflection of themselves, the things that they didn't do, unfulfilled potential, mistakes, and sometimes they parent us out of fear, not out of promise. And no, Shell, I'm actually not Haitian. I'm just garden variety, Southern black. But the one thing that I keep seeing as we have these particular strong conversations, that they are needed and necessary, because these wounds have to be addressed and bandaged up and healed, especially if you want to have children. Again, there's all this talk about let's break curses, let's do all these things, let's do the healthy things, let's go to therapy, let's do all these meditations. That's great, but if you don't acknowledge what is there, you're just going to pass it on in another form. It's like a virus. If you don't identify it, you don't know how to fight it off. Or if you do and don't get the proper treatment to follow up with that, you'll just contract it again and keep spreading it. And the thing that I hear that grieves me from on this panel is that again, I talk about this all the time on my particular part of the internet, that was my relationship with my mother perfect? Absolutely not. I would sometimes go months without speaking to her because I remember the last big fight we had. I told her, I'm not broken, and I don't know why you keep treating me like I am. And then she finally went ahead and told me that I just don't want you, my mother now. She said, I see you making the same mistakes that I did and your grandmother did, and I don't want that for you. So rather than her just telling me that, I think a lot of times our mothers use criticism and shame as tools and weapons, as the best way to raise us, and because that's all they had. And so when you try to deviate from that plan they have for you, deviate from, shame being the sole operative tool, they don't know what to do. So then they crash out. And then there are certain moms who we know are toxic, have, and I'm not saying this to be funny, have other addictive issues going on, mental health issues, hate our fathers. It's a lot going on, and then have to parent this child that you perhaps didn't want, were guilted in having. It's a whole lot. But if we say we're going to try and do better, we have to address what is going on. And again, people can say that I'm breaking curses, but what does that look like? Because I love the fact that Gabrielle said that her aunt, swooped in and gave her that needed support. And now her mom is mad. Now, ma'am, you can't cuss out what I was trying to do and then hate that anybody else was helping me. And again, sometimes our moms do see us as competition. I know for some girlfriends of mine, we're all in our 40s now, but they see their daughters as competition. And I think that comes from their own little girl hurts, and from the fact that nobody spoke to the gifts on the inside of them. So since their dream died, they want to kill yours too. But if we say that we're going to be, these new aunties, these new moms, that we have to understand that we can't pass on what we had. And sometimes you have to be the one in your line has to be strong enough to break that. And nobody really wants to do that, right? Because that means you're gonna have to be called to a standard that maybe nobody else in your family or your bloodline even has. And I don't mean to sound esoteric with that, but that's the best way I can explain that. Like for me, I'm a writer. I'm a writer. I'm a creative, and I had a mother whose mom was silent generation. So my mom is a baby boomer. So everybody was, I was born in the 80s. So everybody trying to live and do while AIDS and crack and everything else is happening. So the attention I give to my daughter is the attention I wish somebody would have given me. And the best thing that God ever let me do was let me grow up and see my mama as human, and give me a chance now at this age I am to really have the relationship I want with my mom, and be able to be honest, not just as her daughter, but as a woman too.
All right. I think Jay made a lot of great points for sure. Um, you know, I definitely do think that there are a lot of mothers that see their daughters as competition. And like I said, that happened to me. And I did say, just like Jay was saying, that I wanted to break that with my daughters, because I have two. And I really just said that was never going to be like that, that whole idea was going to end with me, period. And I feel like I've done it, and I feel like I'm doing it. And it is hard. It is hard when you have to actually go outside of yourself and do things and give your children things that you never received. Like even as simple as when I was coming up, I think I told you guys that I was the only child, no brothers and sisters. I never had any choices. I didn't have any choices until like I was like 16 when I got my first job. So I didn't have any ever choices on what I wanted to eat, what I wanted to drink, what I wanted to wear, anything. It was whatever my parents decided to do. That's whatever it was. That's what it was. And, I said that when I had kids, I was going to, oh, thanks so much for coming up, Jay. I said that when I had kids that I was going to give them choices. So you tell me what you want to eat today. You tell me what you want. Even if it's not what I want, I'll get it for you. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to wear, you pick to me what you want to wear, as long as it's appropriate and things of that nature. And, I always mentioned it to my husband. He like, you always mention that you get them choices. I said, because I feel so proud that I'm able to do that. I hope that probably sounds like a little thing, but for me growing up, it wasn't. It was huge. I used to wish so many years that, wow, like today I don't want to eat this, or today I don't want to drink this, or I don't even like this. And I wish that I had a choice to say, no, I don't want this. I want something else. And I never could. And it's not like I grew up poor or in the hood or anything. It was just that my parents didn't want to do it, you know? And I just said that I was going to never do that. I'm not going to make my children wait until they are able to get a job to be able to choose if they want to eat something that day. You know, I just, if they want to eat a particular thing. So I do think that we got to do our best to just break these chains, like Jay was saying, for sure. But I gotta go work out, you guys. So again, sorry. But I'm gonna let everybody speak again before I get out of here. So I'll start at the top and then I'll go to the bottom. I'll go first to you, Shell.
I just wanna thank you for having this space and giving us all the opportunity to speak on our experiences. I just want to say I think I've heard it from a lot of the ladies, right? As far as healing and doing the work, I truly, truly believe that now that we're in the space we're in, we have the opportunity to heal and to be better people than the ones that we came from. And also what I had to learn is just because of those experiences, it doesn't define who I am or what I can be. So I just want to give love to the ladies, and I'm sorry that you had to experience some of those things. But I truly believe that there's better for us in the future. So thank you.
Oh, no problem, Shell. No problem. And I definitely appreciate you sharing all of your experiences too today. Like, I think that you were very brave, and I'm sorry that you endured a lot, but I'm glad that you've overcome a lot as well to take control of who you want in your life. All right. So let me go next to Naraya.
Yes, I just want to say, again, thank you for holding this space. And again, I extend my grace out to all the ladies. And extend the grace for yourself as well. I just want to say also that when you do get in a space like, where you are at peace and you don't have that trauma and things like that around you, just know that initially at first your body is going to react to, like, it's going to be looking for trauma, but just work on that, work on your nervous system, do some somatic exercises, just kind of frolic, like live in the moment and just be happy and in the space of peace that you have created for yourself when you remove yourself, and just, work on those things. If you need to get therapy or whatever for certain things, then do that. But also too, while you're not in therapy, just enjoy that peace and look around you and smell the roses. And then I'll land there. But thank you so much.
No problem, Naraya. And I definitely agree with everything that you said as well, for sure. And I also thank you for sharing too. All right, let me go over here to Miss Coach T. Let me see if I send her a request to turn her mic on. Okay, there.
My TikTok acting crazy today. Again, Trigger, thank you so much for the space. And this so beautiful for us to be able to have this conversation, especially on the first day of summer, day after Juneteenth, and being able to celebrate being autonomous, being sovereign, and being liberated, and just being free. I realized that I am truly my ancestors' wildest dreams. All the women looking back on my family tree, none of them could live the life that I live today, just simply because of the times that they were born in, but also what they had access to in the spaces. Like, they didn't really get spaces like this where they could speak to women from all different walks of life, like you mentioned, Trigger, who had different upbringings, were born and raised in different places, and come together and have these genuine conversations and really talk about how it made us feel and the things that were done to us, and be supported and held up in that way, instead of being shamed and criticized like Black women always are. But I wanted to speak to one point that Jay mentioned. She mentioned so many great things, but particularly for me, what really kind of helped move things when we're talking about breaking generational curses and like dealing with mother wounds and decentering your mother, is I had to acknowledge the ways that I was just like my mother. I had to acknowledge the ways that she had programmed me to be, the woman that she had programmed me to be, the mother that she had programmed me to be, my point of view, my belief system, my morals, my values. I had to start to really acknowledge that and accept that I am my mother's child. I am the child that she raised. Everything that she did programmed me. So how I look at the world, how I move in the world is exactly the way that she gave it to me. And I really had to reflect and sit with that and decide for myself, what about me that I just took from my mother that I just automatically do like a reflex, just simply because it's something that I learned from her, because mothers are our first teachers. And there's a lot that we learn from our mothers that we don't realize that we got from them, but we can take the good with the bad. So I'll leave everybody with that. Take what you can take and leave the rest.
Yeah, I think that's a great point that you made, Coach Steve, for sure. Because I definitely have taken things from my mom for sure. Like my mom was like extremely sanitary and like a neat freak. And I am too. And I even do the things that she did, you know, to be clean, like the routines and stuff. And yeah, so I definitely got that from her. Even though I don't think anything's wrong with being clean, I don't even think I could stop doing that if I wanted. But but yeah, I definitely agree with you. Definitely made some great points. All right, let me go next to Miss Maria.
Hi, thank you again for holding this space, host, and thank you to all the other ladies that provided information. Thank you so much. But what I will say is, for me, I think is very important not to get lost in the trauma of your mother wound. I think it was very important for me to be able to talk about this in a positive way, even though it was such a negative experience, and know that what I experienced was not my future. It was my past. And to embrace it, know that it was part of who you are, but move forward towards your future. And you can carve out happiness, love, stability, all of the things that you may not have had as a little girl. You could carve that out for yourself. Thank you.
All right, no problem, sis. I appreciate you as well, Maria. All right. Oh shoot. Okay. So I think the last person is Gabrielle. Let me go over here to Miss Gabrielle. I did see you, right,
Oh,
Naraya? Oh, I'm just having a brain fart. Okay, go ahead, Gabrielle.
okay, yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for again hosting this live because I feel like these topics don't get talked a lot about. You know, a lot of people do still believe, oh, if someone is family, like no matter what they do, it's okay. And I don't believe that. So it's just so great to be in a space where we can just all talk about these things, you know. And just like, I guess my final parting message would be that if someone is, you know, not treating you well, regardless of whether they're quote unquote family or not, I think it is okay to cut them off. Like, in my opinion, you get one life and, you know, you should live it and be happy and, you know, do what feels right for you. And that is not really possible if you're surrounded by, you know, toxic people, regardless of whether or not you share DNA with them. I did have one question. I saw in the comments you said you might come back. Do you know about like what time? Because I'm kind of have free time. I would love to like hop on another live if you're gonna, you know.
I'm not for sure when. If I do, it'll probably be like in maybe 2 or 3 hours or so. But I don't know if I will or not. I don't want you to hold me to that because I'm not for sure. Because I got to make something too.
Oh
So,
yeah, no, that's
so I'm
totally
not for
fine.
sure. But
Yeah,
yeah, I'm sorry, and I got to
no,
do
it's
better with
okay.
having a like a set time too because it's so random with me.
No, it's okay. Thank you again, though. I'm gonna like hop off, but thank you so much. I love this live, and I'm so glad we all got to talk about this.
All right. I appreciate you, Gabrielle. It's always good to hear from you and hear your voice and your perspective as well. always. So I just want to say, okay, Naraya, you said you did go. Okay. That's what I mean, my mind is like literally like having a brain fart, man. I don't know. But I appreciate all you ladies that came up here, all of you ladies that told me your experiences and stuff like that. I really do. And I think we're all doing great. I think we're all doing fantastic. I think that every last black woman that I heard speak today and in the chat is very intelligent, very insightful, and you have a lot to offer. And I'm glad that everyone is not let their circumstances and who they were chosen to have as parents, because it's not like we have any control over that you have not allowed that to stop you from doing what you need to do as a woman and succeed. So I just want to say that I love y'all, and I'll come back later, and even not today, it'll be tomorrow, but I'll try to come back today. So I love y'all, and I'll see y'all later. Okay, bye.